Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Once Upon a Time at the Oscars. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Once Upon a Time at the Oscars,
the show that takes you through every Best Picture nominee from 1927 to today.
I'm your host, Kyle.
And I am Ryan.
And it is 2026, baby.
It is. And we have some big news that's happened since we last were on.
The biggest news, Warner Brothers is still not bought anything.
I legitimately think we have maybe 4 years before that becomes a thing.
It's crazy.
It's going to be a while.
But Warner Brothers is a big deal this year.
It is. It's interesting. We talk about Netflix and Warner Brothers and Paramount. We look at the amount of nominations for what we're, of course, talking about here, which is the 2026 Oscars, Academy Awards. And we saw that Warner Brothers had, I think, about 30 nominations across the board. Netflix has a good bit between two movies that we'll talk about here. And Paramount, who is very interested in doing a hostile bidding on Warner Brothers, had 0. So interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah, weird.
Well, yeah, we're talking the Academy Awards, the modern day Academy Awards.
Correct.
Which is so exciting because I've been talking to people and I'm like, hey, do you like Oscar movies? We're the show that covers all of them.
Yeah.
But this is the time to jump in.
Yep.
These movies are accessible for the most part. They're not only accessible like I can go see that movie, but they're accessible in the like digesting the movie way.
Yeah, I think there's maybe one exception that we'll talk about here, but even then, not really.
Yeah.
What I do like about what you said is that, yeah, I think with the majority of the movies that we talk about, like, you know, we ended at 1930, but we're normally asking people to kind of meet us where we are with those movies. Mm-hmm. And now with this opportunity this month, we're reaching out to everyone else. Like we're meeting everyone at face level.
Yeah.
Coming to their level. So very excited to be talking about these. And of course, we're going to be talking about the movies that were officially nominated for Best Picture for the 2026 Oscars. Just announced, well, for us this past week.
Yeah.
But they were announced on January 22nd. And we are now, of course, going to fulfill our prophecy, so to speak, of covering each of those movies that were nominated for Best Picture.
And this is going to be like the one exception to the format of the show. I think ultimately in the entire run of the show, there'll be like 10 of these episodes because of how long we'll run, where we're talking about the movies as they've been nominated, but not as they've won their awards. So as we're going through, we'll be like, this was nominated for 5 awards and won, who knows? So that's going to be a little weird, but, you know, you'll figure it out.
We'll have a recap episode where we can talk about what won, what didn't win.
Exactly.
And make sure you look on the Patreon because there's a very real chance maybe we'll do some fun stuff in terms of live streaming or talking about it. So
absolutely, yeah. So do you want to go over the 10 movies we'll be covering on the show for this year?
I would love to. Do you want to trade off at all? Do you want me to go down the list? How are you feeling?
You can knock it out.
Let's knock it out. So, alphabetically in order that they were released as well, the top 10, the 10 films that were nominated for Best Picture for the 2026 Academy Awards were Bugonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams.
Very nice.
Very good. How did you feel, very briefly, about this? Because we did release our predictions episode.
We did.
So how close were we? How did you feel about it?
Look, we were one movie off, really.
We were.
That's all it was. I think it's interesting. I kind of made you shy away from including F1 in our prediction in place of No Other Choice, which did not receive any nominations. Probably
0.
The biggest surprise to me for the entire thing. So we almost nailed it. I should have let you keep F1, but that was a shocker to me too. I didn't expect it to get nominated.
Which one?
F1.
If only someone could have called that. If only someone... Historically, if you haven't listened to the predictions episode, I had it locked.
You did.
I went back and listened. So Blue Moon is what we swapped out for Train Dreams. which you were always 100% correct. Train Dreams was always going to be there. And to our credit, I love that it wasn't me guessing what our what the top 10 or the 10 nominees would be. It was us. It was a collaborative, like you threw Train James in there and I just completely blanked on it. So I love that it was collaborative. But at the last second, we blinked because we did what we shouldn't have done. And that's where we dreamcasted instead of looking at like what the Academy historically has done. So historically, I will say I'm very, very happy with this list because 2 international features is still better than they tend to do.
It is.
So very happy about that. Really good list overall, but there will always be room for that one spot of where the dads at. Like,
right, yeah.
What are they into right now?
And that's something we'll go into way more depth on the next episode where we cover F1.
That's right.
But man, that is exactly how it feels to me. It's like, hey, how do we get more women to watch the Super Bowl? Taylor Swift. You know, this is Dad's Taylor Swift.
Yeah, it's how do we get dads to be interested in the Oscars, and then Led Zeppelin revs up.
Right, so, yeah.
That works for my dad. So, but today we're going to be talking about our first entry in those nominations, and of course going down the list, that is Bugonia. So you mentioned that this episode's going to be a little different in the format because typically we would just go right in and talk about the episode, but we wanted to talk a little bit about this. One thing that I wanted to do here is I kind of wanted to start every episode. I told you about this off pod. I wanted to start every episode by quoting the movie a little bit of like, my name is Kyle or I'm Kyle. And then I would say some kind of quote from the movie. I didn't do that this time because I thought that would be kind of, especially the quote I do have is a little ominous for like not knowing we're talking about Bugonia first.
Well, you could always close the episode with it.
You're so true. I wonder if I should.
Yeah,
I'm
right
gonna.
there.
You're so right. Thank you for that. I appreciate you saying that up front. All right, so I'm gonna hold on to that. But we are talking about Bugonia. So, Kyle, would you like to do the honors of introducing the movie?
Yeah, I got you. Bugonia, released in 2025, ladies and gentlemen. This was directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, starred Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, Aidan Delbus, and Alicia Silverstone had like almost a cameo role in it.
And Stavy did as well.
Yeah. And this was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, including Best Original Score for Jerskin Fendrix, Best Adapted Screenplay for Will Tracy, Best Actress for arguably the greatest actress of our generation, Emma Stone.
Yep.
And, of course, Best Picture. So this was released by Focus Features, or I guess it was picked up and distributed by Focus Features.
Right.
Made its debut at the 82nd Venice International Film Festival on August 28th, 2025. And tell us a little bit about the film, Ryan.
Yeah, so this movie kind of serves as the end of a trilogy for the director Yorgos Lanthimos and Emma Stone's collaboration. Of course, they've done more movies together. They did The Favorite however many years ago. But this being in a row of when they filmed and when they were released, that, of course, being Poor Things, an Oscar legacy at this point.
As was The Favorite.
As was The Favorite. Good point. And then Kinds of Kindness and, of course, Bugonia. So, with this movie specifically, the logline here is 2 conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnap the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. Now, this movie's a little harder to talk about because if you've seen a trailer for this, if you haven't seen the movie yet, the idea of this movie is hinged on whether or not you're being told the truth, right? I think that's kind of the theme overall in this movie is the idea of paranoia, conspiracy, getting to the bottom of it, trying to be just and true. And it's a difficult conversation to have because I think you spend the majority of the movie wondering whether or not you're being told the truth.
Right.
I'm not going to even remotely try to say hero, Jesse Plemons, who portrays Teddy. Teddy is introduced as a troubled man who is trying to get to the bottom of what has held him back his whole life. He's lost his mother. He feels that he's being lied to, and he wants to get to the bottom of it. So he brings his, I believe, cousin, Don.
I think it's his brother, isn't it?
Oh, his brother. Okay.
I think they're brothers.
His brother, portrayed by Aidan Delbus, who we'll come back to. They are the 2 who kidnap the CEO of a pharmaceutical company, played by Emma Stone as Michelle. Michelle is, lack of a better term, boss babe. She is portrayed as someone who tries to be lenient, but ultimately has to be a boss, has to be a leader. This made for a very interesting concept of a movie before I saw it. I was a little concerned. We've talked a little bit about Yorgos Lanthimos, not necessarily my favorite director, but obviously a visionary. I thought watching this that I had way more interest in it and I was way more involved because it really does play more like a 70s paranoid thriller. like a conspiracy movie. And I thought that was great because now it doesn't matter whether or not Michelle is a human or not. It's more why Teddy is doing this. Dawn is kind of brought along with Teddy, but Teddy is the mastermind of this.
Right.
Again, using that word loosely. But man, I had way more fun with this than I thought I was going to. I thought it was definitely weird, and I love that about it. But I don't know, what did you think about this?
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
I love your comparison to a 70s thriller. That's exactly how this feels. Even just like the look of Teddy's house and everything, it has that like stuck in a time capsule kind of vibe to it. But I mean, Jesse Plemons is great in this. I love the mystery that kind of revolves around his life and why he is the way he is, which is so cool because you spend so much time trying to figure out, is Emma Stone an alien? Is she not? Blah, blah, blah. But there's also this side mystery of, wait, what happened between Teddy and the cop?
Yep.
What exactly happened between Teddy and his mom? Because his mom has not passed away. She is in the hospital.
You're right.
Which becomes a major plot point in the movie. He blames Michelle and her race of aliens for his mother's condition.
Right. And it's worth explaining that a little bit here. So you're absolutely right. I think the way I meant was like he's lost his mother in the sense that like she really is just incapacitated.
Right. Yeah.
So you're dead on with that. So what happens is that Michelle specifically is the CEO of a pharmaceutical company, and this pharmaceutical company did a test on Teddy's mother because they believed that this would have helped her. Unfortunately, this did result in her becoming more and more sick to a point where she is incapacitated. So this is really the crux of the movie of like why Teddy believes that she is an alien and that she is here to destroy Earth, really specifically humans, one at a time. So that's really the reason he's doing all of this, specifically to Michelle. He believes that this race is among all of us, but he has little things, the hair being a receptor for, be able to speak to your mothership, be able to cover your skin in like lotion so you can prevent like, was it a healing property?
Something like that. I forget the details.
It was like to keep her weak or something. Yeah, very interesting. And it feels very thought out. It's also worth mentioning what this was based on. It was based on a movie previously, correct?
Correct, yeah. So we could talk about that nomination now. It was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. And Will Tracy took the original film, Save the Green Planet, by Jang Jung-hwan, a South Korean film.
2003, right?
2003. I have not seen this movie.
Neither have I.
I didn't know this was adapted from that film going into this movie. I did read that Will Tracy saw the movie once, as well as Yorgos Lanthimos, and they were like, let's adapt this. But we're just going to like really loosely adapt it. It's not going to be a one-to-one remake or anything like that. I love the name Save the Green Planet, though, because all I can think about is Steven Spielberg being like, we've got to go help E.T. save the Green Planet.
Probably where you got it from. Who knows?
That
ride's been open since 1923, so who knows? I have to imagine that when we talk about the differences made in this screenplay versus the original film, probably the last 30 minutes or so of this movie are a bit of that change. I don't think that it had a similar outcome in the original that it did here. But just because that feels very Yorgos, right? Where this movie ends up going does feel very much in Lanthimos' lane, not to give anything away just yet. But ultimately, I found myself, I mentioned this earlier, so interested in not just whether or not Michelle was an alien and Teddy was right, but you actually start watching, like, this movie is a little bit more about Teddy than it is about Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle is kind of brought into this story, but the story is Teddy's. And Teddy is an interesting individual because I think you have a little sympathy from him in the beginning. And then the more that you see him and how far he's willing to go for this cause, you realize that he's kind of lost his morality. He's lost his ability to see other people, and he can rationalize them as, well, they're not actually people, so I shouldn't treat them that way. There's a reveal later in the movie where Michelle actually walks into a room and sees all of the people that Teddy has, I guess, lack of a better word, experimented on.
Yeah.
And tortured previously. And there's a good bit of torture in this movie. Like, it goes there. That's why I feel like it's 70s conspiracy thriller to me, because that, and also the camera is so tight.
Yes.
A movie, when you talk about someone might being an alien, you might expect more like sweeping shots. There's maybe one shot towards the end of the movie that shows the Atlanta skyline. We can talk about that. But otherwise, it's really close on Teddy or Michelle's face. Or I'm thinking of the shot when Michelle is first kidnapped when she's driving, listening to Chaperone. And that's just really kind of like tight on her face, too. So a lot of this is just, it's less about the surrounding area and it's less about this global event that's happening or not happening. And it's more about just these people.
Yes.
And I thought that was so interesting.
No, I agree. I love, too, that the only time there are wide shots are really kind of to take in the environment of Teddy's surroundings specifically.
The dining room scene.
It's got to be the best scene of the movie, would
Easily.
you say? Yeah.
I think it's the one that allows all three characters to be like firing on all cylinders.
Yes.
We talk about Jesse Plemons. We talk about Emma Stone. I think it's only right that we talk about Aiden Delbus.
Yeah.
Aiden Delbus was brought on the first time, right? This is his feature debut.
Yeah, absolutely. He plays, oh, you were right. It is the cousin. He plays the autistic cousin
That's right.
of Teddy.
Aiden Delbus had never really acted before, at least not professionally. So when he was cast in the movie specifically, Yorgos was looking for his words like not an amateur, but like non-professional, right? He was looking for someone specifically who was neurodivergent
Gotcha.
to portray Dawn. And he thought it would be a different dynamic. And I think that's the exact right way to do this. You know, Dawn's condition here, or not even condition, but like him being neurodivergent, is never really played as a gag. It's never played as like a joke and like for humor. It really is to kind of like be the entry point of, is this right? Right. And I think he plays that so well. I actually read that we talk about the dinner scene here. The reason that I mentioned that with the wide shot, and it's such a great scene, is that it does allow for Michelle to continue being rebellious and dominant, but also kind of patronizing to Teddy a little bit here. Because again, regardless if she's an alien or not, she's absolutely livid that she's in this situation. And she knows that when a man has her like, you know, captive, that she kind of has to give into that a little bit, feed into his like, you know, his thoughts and his theories.
Yeah.
And you see her being dominant and kind of, you know, giving into him a little bit, but mocking him. You see Teddy trying to stay in control. And then you have Dawn. And I think he's right in the middle there. I think the scene has Michelle on the left, Teddy on the right, and Dawn is just like dead center in front of the camera.
Right.
I had read that in that scene that Aiden Elbus actually improvised that line about having to go to the bathroom.
Really?
Because he was just like really tense and he was like trying to cut the tension. And Yorgos was like, keep that in. That's incredible.
That's so good.
Because again, like, it leads to that innocence. And that innocence is what you're looking for, the no filter. So I thought that was a brilliant decision to not only making Dawn, but like bringing in the actor as neurodivergent.
Yeah.
I thought that was incredible. And it could have gone either way, honestly. I was really concerned about it being kind of like a laugh line.
Right.
And it was done so well.
Yeah, it feels genuine. I think it adds a lot to the story because now you have Teddy, who is so invested in all of these theories and conspiracies. He has someone that can help him that he can kind of take advantage of.
Yes.
And it is very sad, but again, so much of this movie is going back and forth that you're kind of on Teddy's side for a vast majority of it. And that scene is just so great. You mentioned Emma Stone and like her power dynamics there in kind of being patronizing to Teddy, but also mocking him. She's so smart in this movie. Her character is so smart in she's finding the weaknesses of Teddy. Oh, he clearly is concerned about his mother in a big way. Let me be motherly to him.
Yep.
You know, and when that doesn't work, well, let me negotiate with him. Let me, I don't know, try to explain things in a way that will do away with the conspiracies. She's just trying everything, but she's doing it in a way that is so intelligent and in no way panicked or frantic or grasping at straws. I think she's written so well.
She is. No, I mean, she's written so well. And of course, that's why that partnership between Emma Stone and Yorgos Lanthimos is so interesting because he writes these characters and Emma Stone is just absolutely knocking this out of the park, right? I mean, I have to think that the reason that this movie was nominated for Best Picture overall is Emma Stone's performance. Now, obviously, Yorgos has, we've talked about this, a storied history with the Academy. He obviously cleaned up with Poor Things a good bit, a big nomination. You're right, he was nominated for The Favorite as well, so this is not his first nomination. But I think the reason he's kept partnering with her is because she really does an incredible job of doing what she needs to with these movies. One big part of it, we can't really overshadow this, she did shave her head for this role.
Yes.
This was something where when they were filming the movie, she would be doing press tours or red carpet premieres for other things. And people started clocking like, I think she's wearing a wig. Interesting. She might be wearing a wig right now. And she was, because she shaved her head for this role. I mentioned in the movie that Teddy suspects that not even suspects, he's pretty confident about this, that hair follicles are the way that they connect, the aliens connect with their mothership. So he does shave her head. And that's actually happening in the movie when he shaves her head. I thought that was another, it's almost like, of course you had to, but I always have a little bit of respect when they film that, of like,
Right.
you only have one shot at this. So you got to make sure you're getting everything right, the angle, the lighting, whatever you're going to do. It has to be done right the first time.
What's your first memory of an actor doing something like that on screen?
You're not going to like my answer.
What is it?
Child's Play 3.
That's a great answer.
So Child's Play 3, my favorite of the Child's Play movies, does take place at not all boys, but it's a military academy.
Yeah.
And one big character is the barber. And the barber is always looking for kids whose hair are just a little grown out so that he can shave them. And I always thought it was really interesting when I was watching the movie. I was like, you're really shaving these kids' heads.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, of course, it's been done so many times since then. Full Metal Jacket, there are tons of movies that would do that. But that was the first movie that I saw where I was like, oh, this is like happening. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's so funny. Man, the one I think about that I remember them making a big deal about it when it came out was V for Vendetta.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, Natalie Portman.
Yeah, so that's always kind of my go-to of like, oh, they shaved her head. They're doing a Natalie Portman.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen it in a long time. Was that a one take? It just holds on her,
It must
right?
have been, yeah, because she's like bawling her eyes out.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly not the first time an actress has gone to lengths to portray this kind of role. But, like, still, for Emma Stone...
Yeah, that doesn't diminish it at all.
Absolutely
it's crazy.
not. No, she does a great job with that. And I thought that, that's just the physical side. I mean, well, actually, one part of the physical side of how she brings this character to life. But I also thought it was interesting because the way that she kind of questions Teddy, it could very well be a mocking thing. But I also took it as she just wants to understand his logic. Right? Especially towards the beginning. She's like, so talk me through, like, my mothership. Like, where is this? And it's never like, oh, so my mothership, where is it right now? She's like, what exactly is happening? Like, how should I know this? Because if I understand this fully, I can explain to you why this isn't rational. And this is great because this seems very human, right? This comes across as very human. This isn't like methodical, like, I'm going to get you. It really is like, let me assess the situation here and what's going on.
Yes.
So this is a very fun, like, cat and mouse game. But the reason that it isn't because, like, you really can't understand whether Michelle is an alien or not, but it's more understanding Teddy's motivations.
Right.
And you start seeing the flaws in Teddy's story where you're like, you are so personally driven by this. Like, you are emotionally held captive by this to where you're not a reliable narrator anymore.
Yeah.
So I thought that was so interesting to where it's less what's going on with Michelle and it's more what's going on with Teddy. And Jesse Plemons was not nominated for Best Actor here. Worth noting because he is doing an incredible job here. A tough thing is that when you talk about the category it would fall in, I mean, he is the male lead, arguably, but he would have had an easier time falling into the supporting actor category here than he would in leading. So I think that's why he couldn't really find the middle ground there and he couldn't compete. I mean, look, we'll talk about it later, but like the nominees for Best Actor, wow, it is stacked.
That's so interesting. I just looked at the list. I think he would have had a harder time in the supporting category.
I mean, look, I think what I'm looking at is the performances. Okay, hear me out. The performances in Best Supporting are tough to compete with. The names in Best Acting or Best Actor, I think are tough to compete with as well. So I'm comparing the names versus the performances. I don't think like Jesse Plemons right now wants to go toe-to-toe with Ethan Hawke, Leo, Timmy Chalamet, Wagner Moura. Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to compete with those right now.
Right.
Especially Michael B. Jordan in Sinners, which is just powerhouse.
Yeah.
We'll get there. So, but I mean, all that to say, Jesse Plemons' performance cannot be overlooked. He is so good in this.
Yeah.
He did partner with or work with Yorgos in his last movie, Kinds of Kindness, which for me wasn't fully a success. I didn't love it. But Jesse in this movie is a different beast. He really is given the keys to the kingdom, and he destroys this part.
I need to see Kinds of Kindness. I know you said that you didn't really enjoy it, but I have enjoyed Yorgos Lanthimos' movies in full. Yeah, I've liked all of them that I've seen now.
I need to go back on the further catalog. I need to see the Dogtooths, the Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah.
I need to see those because I have a feeling I will like those a bit more. But Poor Things for me was just... And again, this is what's fun about these nominations. While I don't love a lot of Yorgos' stuff, I can admit like the artistry there. Like these aren't bad movies. It really is just like, oh, hey, me personally, I'm probably out on that. But man, artistically, so well done. The score in this is incredible, which leads to another thing we can talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Nominated for Best Original Score, this is Jerskin Fendrick. I need to go back and like really listen to the score. Usually I'll put all of the best original score soundtracks on a list and just have them playing all the way leading up to the Oscars. This one had like a haunting feel to it, which was so interesting. This is the same composer as the previous Yorgos Lanthimos nominated film, Poor Things. Mm-hmm. So that was nominated for Best Original Score as well in 2024. So this is 2 for Jerskin.
Yeah, and I think this one is a little more effective for me than Poor Things was. I don't remember the score too much from Poor Things. I'm sure it's great, but it didn't lend itself, I should say, memorably enough for me to go back and look at it fondly. Now, with Bugonia, I think that this is less a theme that I was... stuck in my head all the time. And it was more just extremely effective.
Yes.
We've talked off pod about there's a scene where Teddy is riding his bike just before he runs into the officer, Stavros. And he's riding his bike and the music just out of nowhere. You're right that it's haunting and it's really just kind of more like setting like the tone and the mood of the movie. But when he's riding his bike, the score just becomes furious. And it becomes this very loud, not even swell, but just like burst of energy. And to me, that felt like you're kind of matching Teddy's mindset. And like you're seeing him try to keep his composure and be in control and hear the music kind of at a low, like the whole time. But when he's riding his bike, you see him braking a little bit. And that's when the music just completely like blows up.
Yes.
And I thought that was so well done. And I really, really enjoyed that score overall. Again, not as a, let me sit down and listen to the Bugonia score, which I've heard it is actually really fun to go back and listen to. But in the movie, it's just so effective. And it complements the actual scenes so well. Especially when the movie does get to its last 15 minutes. I think the score does a lot of heavy lifting as well. And that is so much fun. So great nomination for this.
Yeah, I really like when a score doesn't, how do I say this without being offensive to 90% of the composers in the industry?
Hit 'em.
It doesn't feel like generic and repeated.
Sure. It has a personality.
Right. We'll talk about this more next episode. But like the score of F1, the Hans Zimmer score, it's solid. It fits the movie. It's fine. But it's also Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
We've heard it.
That's a really good point. This didn't sound like the Poor Things soundtrack to me.
No.
This does have its own voice. So even with it being the same composer, he looked at the movie and said, well, what does this need?
Yes.
And not just, well, what can I do? Right?
Yes. And again, it has that haunting. It has that like intense emotion during the bicycle scene. And then it gets weird at the end. And I love that it has that much variety to it. I think that makes this a really strong contender for Best Original Score.
Yeah.
It's a tough category.
You're kind of fighting two people on this, honestly. Probably just one.
Yeah. I think any other year, this would have a better chance.
Yeah.
But in no way do I think this is like undeserving of this nomination.
It's worth noting, too. I haven't done some research on this. I'd like to. I do think that there's a very... I actually, you know what? I think I heard somewhere that Yorgos went up to... I'm not sure if it's Jendrix or... Jerskin or Yerskin. But I think he walked up to Yerskin and said, here's bees. Here's bees. That's all I'm giving you is just bees.
Cut to Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. The bees. So I think he based this score around like that buzz. And you can feel that, especially like in the home scenes. Like we talk about that like mood setting, how it's just kind of a low hum, and you just feel like like throughout. Great. And I thought it was so effective, especially when it kind of like blows up. You don't expect it to. So the last thing that we really need to talk about in terms of nominations, we talked about original or adapted screenplay, original score.
Sorry. I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah.
Can we go back to the bees for a second?
Yeah, bee it
Because
up.
That's so important to this movie.
It is.
That we haven't brought up. Jesse Plemons is a beekeeper. He has his own little apiary. And a big point of this movie is he claims that the Andromedas, Emma Stone's alien race, is a cause for a decline in the bee population.
Right.
And it's so interesting because I looked up what Bugonia means. And it's actually a folk ritual where they sacrifice a cow and leave it in hopes that bees will just kind of spawn out of the cow corpse.
Huh.
This movie's bee heavy.
It is. It's
And-
bee heavy. And for anyone who has seen the movie, that metaphor is not lost on you, right? There's a great last shot in this movie that I absolutely loved. I thought that was great. It's a side note because I don't really want to, I don't know if you want to get into spoilers, but for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, I don't want to ruin that. But I did see someone online who I think they told their like 8-year-old about Bugonia. And like now Bugonia serves as like the boogeyman.
Oh.
And there's a great sentence where it's like, Bugonia's coming to get me. And I think the kid thinks that Emma Stone's name is Bugonia. So
Bugonia's gonna get you if you don't watch out.
the phrase Begonia's gonna get me has just been in my head for like 5 days. So I just thought that was really funny to share.
A gonna get you gets you. Like,
It does.
you live for that.
I love that. I think also just the idea of like Emma Stone's name is Michelle, and they're just like, that's Bugonia. Cool. All right,
I'm
yeah.
gonna start calling her Bugonia.
That's a good name for her.
Bugonia, please, just a moment.
It is. I really do like the bees in this movie. I think
Yeah.
that, again, it kind of serves as the soundtrack. It serves as the purpose. It serves as a story. And I really did enjoy this overall, especially where it went. I thought this was a really interesting story that wasn't really about like, well, maybe there's slight spoilers here. Maybe there's really not a villain. Maybe the villain is like what we're doing to ourselves and as people. Like maybe
Yeah.
that's really the worst part of this. So visiting this movie, I was kind of expecting it to be, you know, this kooky little like thriller, but ultimately it was pretty masochistic, maybe a little bit, or pessimistic. It was a little darker than I thought it was going to be, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it covers the themes of like conspiracies and kind of collecting information in a really problematic way.
Yeah,
Which is a huge topic of like today's world and society. But because of the way the events play out in this movie, it's like, well, how am I supposed to feel then? Because it feels like, hey, conspiracies can be very bad and very dangerous for like the individual and just society in a general sense. But maybe consider the conspiracies every once in a while.
yeah, absolutely. You know, one thing we haven't mentioned here is the visuals of this. I mean, it is a really contained movie, and again, we mentioned all the very tight shots, but where they do tend to go a little more visual heavy and is a little more towards the film. But the scene that really struck me was there's a flashback sequence where Teddy is remembering Michelle talking about, they're outside of the headquarters and talking about the experiment that they want to run on his mother, like the pharmaceuticals they want to give her to make her better. And there's a great visual of a younger Teddy holding on to his mother's hospital bed like it's a balloon. And you see a string that's attached to his hand and then up to her, and she's levitating in her bed. And I thought that visual of her being like a balloon and him not wanting to let go of that balloon was remarkable.
Man.
And it was just such a small little thing where I just, that resonated with me so much of like, you don't have to show Teddy talking about how much his mom means to him. You just have to see this visual of this little boy in his balloon. And I thought that was unreal.
And that's so cool because stuff like that doesn't always work.
It doesn't.
Like, you can't just throw an automatic rifle in the sky
Well,
and be like,
I'm not going to hate on this, but go ahead. Go off.
weapons, ladies and gentlemen. No, I like weapons, but
Yeah.
that's
There's a few more things that are up for interpretation, like weapons, where they do just put like, you know, the AR on top of the house with like the clock in the middle of it. But with this one, I do think it's pretty like, I'm telling you, like, there's not like, what do you think this means? Like, I'm telling you what this means.
Right.
And I think there's some visual aspects of his movies, especially Poor Things, where I thought it was just kind of weird to be weird. And this one, like, it had such a meaning that was so clear.
Yeah.
So I think this is like Yorgos at his peak. Like, you know, of the Yorgos that I've seen, I've mentioned this is my favorite of his. I really like the style of this a lot. This was like a surprise hit for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've liked Yorgos since I saw the first movie I saw, The Favorite. So this might be my favorite as well. Maybe because it's so tight. It's not super long. It feels very grounded in a way I think that most of his movies don't feel. The Favorite's pretty grounded, but it's also a period piece, so it's harder to relate. But this just feels real and, like, I don't know, aggressively violent.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. You know, it's been an interesting past, I'll say 3 years. Like, when we talk about directors doing trilogies and, like, you know, following up these movies very closely, Yorgos obviously having this incredible run with Emma Stone. But another part of that, too, is, you know, someone who had a great run in the past year with 3 movies, Osgood Perkins.
Right.
And he did, you know, he started with Longlegs and then very shortly after came out with The Monkey. And then in the same year released Keeper. And I thought it was very interesting to look at his 3 movies and how effective those were. And it felt like Longlegs was a huge surprise. And then The Monkey was a swerve, but still fun. And then Keeper was just pretty interesting. What I like about Yorgos is that I didn't see that, like, interest kind of like wane like I did with Osgood Perkins. It really did feel kind of like, I'm going to launch with Poor Things, which is going to be a huge topic of discussion. And then we're going to do Kinds of Kindness, which the people who like it love it, but it's really not as popular and there isn't as much to, like, talk about. But then shot right back up with Bugonia.
Yeah.
And I thought that was extremely interesting because it's not every day that you can just, like, bounce back and have in your trilogy of movies that were made very quickly together with the same level of cast or same cast members. I thought that was really interesting, and I really, really like what he did with this. And it can't be understated that he did it so close to all the other ones too.
Yeah. Is this has this been said specifically, like, this is a trilogy?
No, and I shouldn't say trilogy, but in the sense of, like, how quickly these 3 movies came out together.
I see.
Like, he really must have started working on Poor Things, meaning, like, this is the direction I want to take.
Yeah.
Because he's taking a break now, right? He said, like, this was a concerted effort to, like, go in and, like, concentrate on these movies, and now I'm going to take a break.
Gotcha.
So they're not a I mean, he may consider them a trilogy, but I don't believe there's, like, a, you know, Bugonia trilogy.
Yeah, well, because I was trying to find, like, a common thread in between the 3, but
outside of Let Emma Stone Cook, I don't think there was.
No, I think that's it.
A question that I have for you, and this can kind of serve as our, you know, we've talked about how great Emma Stone in this movie, or is in this movie, but to kind of cap our Best Actress talk, where do you think this stands for her in terms of her performances for you?
Oh, you know, let me pull that back up.
Because let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Superbad is number 1, right?
She's great in every movie she's ever been in. Just
that is true.
She's incredible. So this is her 7th time being nominated for an Academy Award.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Now, you're not talking about, like, you know, if she was nominated as producer or something. You mean, like, straight acting.
This is her 5th acting nomination.
Wow.
Thanks for your support, Ryan.
I got you, man.
So back at the 87th Academy Awards, she was nominated for Birdman. She was nominated and won for La La Land. Best Supporting Actress at the 91st Academy Awards for the Yorgos Lanthimos film, The Favorite. Nominated for Best Actress and won for Yorgos with Poor Things. And then, of course, she's nominated once again for Bugonia. And why would you not work with Yorgos over and over and over?
No.
She keeps getting the nominations. This is her 7th nomination overall. She had 2 Best Picture nominations as well. For Poor Things and now for Bugonia as well. She served as producer for both of them.
Yep.
But 5 nominations for acting. She's, like, my age.
Yeah.
So she's one of those where I see her on screen and I just go, "What? Where did I make a wrong turn? Like, what's going on here?"
I think that's what I meant by wow, too, is that, like, to be in her 30s and to be nominated 5 times. I mean, I know, you know, the Timmy of it all, but
right.
It's just, it is remarkable. And it's a great feat. Not a surprise that 3 of those 5 times were from Yorgos movies, but she's found the person she loves working with. I also think this is an incredible partnership because in this partnership, Emma Stone has become a titan in producing. and has gone a very long way in making sure that these movies that don't even feature her can be made. So I love that because it doesn't feel like a vanity project. It doesn't feel like how many movies can I do? It's more how can I lift these voices up?
Right.
I love that I can cap that story and all these conversations about Emma Stone by saying that she is in fact producing a Miss Piggy movie that's coming out. Cannot wait for that. I want to talk to you off pod about that because that seems like a fever dream that I would love to not wake up from. But she is a powerhouse producer and a powerhouse performer. So all around, huge Emma Stone fan, and I couldn't be more thrilled that she is nominated as Best Actress here. I do think that we're kind of we'll talk about the Hamnet of it all, but I do think that this race is a little predictable in that sense. But still, a really, really tight category. Kate Hudson, we're not really going to talk about Song Sung Blue too much here because it was a nominee for Best Picture, but that is a performance, indeed. I think it's good. It's just you can't really compare it to some of these other performances.
Yeah.
So, still, not quite the Best Actor category for me, but Best Actress is pretty close, and Emma Stone goes a very long way in carrying the legacy for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. This kind of feels like a lock for Jessie Buckley.
Yeah.
But between Jessie Buckley, Emma Stone, and Renata Rienzi, I don't know. Those are the three strong ones for me. I know that
incredible performances.
Yeah, Rose Byrne did win the Golden Globe for If I Had Legs, I Would Kick You. I'd Kick You.
I haven't seen it yet, but I have heard she's just absolutely mesmerizing in that movie.
Yeah, and now with the Oscar death race going on for me, I'm like, well, I really want... Oh, wait. I was just going to say, like, I don't know if I'll have time to see it. I have to watch it. It's part of the Oscar. I was like, it was nominated for a Golden Globe, but I'm focused on the Oscars.
Yeah. If only there was 2 or 3 days where you couldn't leave the house that you would have to watch it.
I wonder if that's coming up.
Let me check the weather outside.
Stay safe out there, guys. But yeah, let's talk about the other two categories one more time, just in like who we think is leading. We do have the score, which we talked about.
We do have the score. In terms of, you want to talk about who's leading the score right now?
Yeah, like who, kind of our predictions and...
Yeah.
I like it. I see what you did.
Yeah, well, just wanted to make sure. Yeah, so in terms of score, we have Johnny Greenwood for One Battle After Another. We have Ludwig Göransson for Sinners. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we have Jürgen Fendrix for Bugonia. I mean, look, for me, I think we're kind of circling the drain here on Sinners. I think Ludwig Göransson, Sinners is going to clean up and score. I think that's a pretty easy thing.
Yeah.
I really like the score in One Battle After Another, but it's not getting a lot of talk. And I think that is another really effective use of that score. But I think that while the Sinners score is effective, I think it also kind of serves as like it is its own character.
Yes.
Because music is such a big part of that movie.
Totally agree.
So I feel like that's almost like a third acting category, or rather fifth acting category for that movie. So I do think it's going to go to Sinners.
Yeah, I agree. Göransson has been a powerhouse with Black Panther, with Creed. He did the Mandalorian score.
He did Oppenheimer, didn't he?
Oh, man. I was talking about the Oppenheimer score the other day.
Unreal.
In a negative way.
Oh, fight
for Hans Zimmer. But I think that's what I was doing. I was saying, like, we've seen it before. I think that is very, like, it's the Göransson's Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
You know?
He was like, you like Hans Zimmer, don't you, Nolan?
Right.
Yeah, but, I mean...
It's a great score.
Just that, do you see, hear the music scene of Oppenheimer, of the score?
Yeah.
Oh, that's it, man.
Yeah, please... Ladies and gentlemen, understand, I don't hate Hans Zimmer or anything. That was just my example of, yeah, we've heard it. And I like the Oppenheimer score.
Thank you. Yeah. Don't pay no attention to the knife I'm holding in your throat right now. Yeah.
So we have Nope. I keep saying that. Adapted screenplay as well. And where do you think we lie with this?
With adapted screenplay, I think that when we talk about Best Picture, I do know you're talking about adapted screenplay, but I'm just saying, when we talk about Best Picture, I think we're kind of talking about One Battle versus Sinners. And I think that screenplay, both adapted and original, is going to fall there as well. So adapted screenplay, I do think is a pretty much a lock for Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle. Of course, that's based on the Thomas Pynchon novel. I'm not sure it's Pynchon or Pynchon, but the Thomas P. novel. Yeah. So I do believe it's going to go to Paul Thomas Anderson on that one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's why it's nice to see these nominations, and ultimately I don't know if it's going to win any of these. Original score is probably one of its best bets.
Yeah.
But I think that Jessie Buckley being a lock for Best Actress does kind of eliminate Emma Stone, who is giving an incredible, one of the best performances of last year in this movie. So absolutely worth seeing for that. I don't think adapted screenplay is going to fall in its favor. And I, of course, don't think Best Picture is a conversation. I think Bugonia, as good as it is probably in the middle towards the bottom of the top 10 for me.
Yeah.
In terms of what I think would win.
You know, we talked a lot in the predictions episode about how the Academy does, there has to be 10 Best Picture nominees now, and how we didn't really agree with that. Sometimes I like the idea of saying, okay, we can do 5 to 10, depending on what we truly think is worth the nomination. If we were doing that, I think this would still have received a Best Picture nomination, even if it wasn't required
absolutely.
the 10, which is not something I can say about all of the movies that were nominated this year. So that's exciting to me. This is one that I'm like, yes, this is very deserving of this slot.
It is. I would probably feel comfortable putting it in 5. I was thinking about 5 or 6. I think Sinners, One Battle, Hamnet, I mean, for me, Sentimental Value. But then I haven't seen Secret Agent yet, so I don't know if I'd want to put that in 5 or not.
Right, yeah.
So,
but regardless, I think we both agree, like, yes, this deserves to be here.
Oh, totally, 100%. I think with the exception of F1, and even then, we'll talk about this next episode, I have some defenses on that. But outside of that, I think all these movies deserve to be there. Love to see the nominations across the board. And I think that if anyone was going to sit down and say, I have to watch all the Best Picture nominees, this is a really great year to do that.
Totally. Do you want to do our famous double feature game?
I do. Yeah. You talked about this. And for anyone who this is your first time listening, every time that Kyle and I cover a Best Picture nominee, we always like to end the episode recommending a movie that we would want to double feature with this. Sometimes we can be a little, a little cute on it. Other times we're very direct. I'm not sure which one I'm doing on this one. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Do you want me to go first? You want to go first? How are you feeling?
You know what? I'm going to go first.
You go first.
I never go first, so.
Well, look at me being kind.
Kinds of kindness.
Hey.
So this is kind of a, hey, what's going on here?
The Four Non-Blondes of movies, yeah.
Yeah. I get that. It's funny. No, like the whole theme of, trying to keep up with the mystery. What's the real story going on with Plemons and that cop?
Yeah.
What is Emma Stone really an alien? This movie that I'm pairing today doesn't really have it. Like, it doesn't plant the seeds for a specific conspiracy goal, but there is a lot of, wait a minute, what am I looking at? What did I just see? There's a mystery here and I don't know what it is. I'm going to go with David Fincher's Fight Club.
Ooh.
Because I think that movie also tackles some very heavy themes, some very real world themes, but it kind of does it in a way that when you're done with the movie, you walk away and you say, well, it talked about the themes, but I don't know how I'm supposed to feel one way or another. Am I supposed to support releasing toxic masculinity? Is this anti-toxic masculinity? Am I supposed to support conspiracies? I don't know.
Interesting.
No, there it is.
No, I think that's really good. I think that this kind of serves as, wow, that's actually a really tight double feature. It really is kind of Fight Club light a little bit there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean they're both pretty violent too, pretty gritty.
Yeah.
So
wow, yeah, David, that's high praise for Yorgos too to compare to a David Fincher film. So great work. I'm glad you went first. Maybe I wish you went second on this. No, so my recommendation is kind of based more on the captive side of the story, the idea of holding hostage, the idea of trying to get something out of someone and thinking that kidnapping and torture might be the best way out of it. And I am, of course, referring to the 1999 classic written and directed by Kevin Williamson, Teaching Mrs. Tingle. This is a movie that's kind of engraved in my head from when I was younger. Working at Blockbuster, I would just kind of see this in comedy and drama and switching places depending on the day. Have you seen this movie?
I've never even heard of this movie.
Okay, well, there's a reason. The idea of this is that 3 high school seniors who are friends actually they're being failed by their teacher and thinks that they're cheating on their final exams. So they actually do the very rational thing, which is that they hold their teacher captive and take her hostage to prove that they are not cheating on their final exams and to have her reverse the grade. Here's where things get interesting. Katie Holmes, Barry Watson, and Marissa Coughlin are the 3 high school seniors, and the teacher is Helen Mirren. So this is not a great movie. This is a fun movie and worth watching, but it does follow in the same vein of Bugonia of trying to get something out of someone and thinking that holding them captive is the way you can do it.
Yeah, and being weird, it sounds
And
like.
being weird. And Kevin Williamson, of course, known for Scream, Dawson's Creek, being a North Carolina man himself. I Know What You Did Last Summer? That was Kevin? Okay, perfect. So very interesting. This movie does not fit the vibe of those at all. It's a little more cheeky, a little more comedic. But I did really enjoy my time with this movie. Notice I said did. I don't know how I feel about it now, but it is a movie that I first thought of when I was watching Bugonia.
Fair play. I will add it to the list and maybe check it out. No, not my list.
Oh, the Letterboxd list.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Love that it's going to be Fight Club and teaching Mrs. Tingle.
Yeah, so check out the Once Upon a Time at the Oscars Letterboxd list. We do have all of our best pictures listed there, and I've kind of paired them up to be like, this is the movie we watched, and this is the one we recommend. We have separate lists.
Thank God.
It's very important that we
Thank
have
God for
separate
you.
lists.
I love that my list so far is going to have heaters like Teaching Mrs. Tingle and You're Invited to Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen's Slumber Party.
Hey, it was on Letterboxd.
It was.
You questioned it, and I was like, well. Click.
Someone pointed out, and you did the same thing to me with The Last of Us Season 2, but someone pointed like, why did you rank it on Letterboxd? I was like, if they didn't want me to rank it, they shouldn't put it on Letterboxd.
And then I sent an email to Letterboxd, and I said, take this off.
I said, I'm finding a new co-host. Take this off.
So let's completely finish up with Bugonia here and just give it our rating.
Oh, let me look at what I rated it, actually. I could tell you my rating right now, but I want to be honest to my experience when I first watched it.
Sure. When I walked out of the theater and I opened up my little Letterboxd app, I did give it a 3.5 star out of 5.
I gave it 3 stars, and I think that may be a little unkind. I think in looking back, I'd give it 3.5.
Unkinds of kindness.
Unkinds of kindness. You poor thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. So,
Guys, who's your favorite? Is it me or Ryan? Circle 1.
I do think Circle 2. I do think that Bugonia is probably closer to a 3.5, maybe a 4. I feel like the only reason I wouldn't go as far as a 4 is that I do think that revisiting this movie is probably sad. Like, I don't think that it's going to be one of those like, man, this is such a fun movie. Because ultimately, the story that it's telling and the direction that it goes in is just more like, it's very bleak.
Oh,
right?
100%, yeah.
So when you're watching the events unfold in the movie, it's not as interesting because you know where it's going and it's not necessarily a fun place.
Yeah.
So for me, probably closer to 3.5, but I really am dancing at like, this is why I think we should do like, fractions, like 3.75. Yeah. Perfect 3.75 movie for me.
Take it up with Letterboxd.
Add more Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen You're Invited to.
But remove the TV shows.
And also give me fractions.
Yes. This is one that I saw in theaters. So it's been a while. I've been removed from it. I'm looking forward to rewatching it. I do think it's going to be sad, but I'd like to watch it again before the Academy Awards on March 15th.
I was thinking about which of the nominees I would go back and watch again. Mm-hmm. I've seen Sentimental Value twice. I've seen Sinners twice. I thought about seeing One Battle again. We're recording this on the weekend that there's supposed to be a pretty historic ice or snow or catastrophic event in Atlanta. So we are expecting to be indoors for the next 2 days. So I'm just thinking about what movies I want to rewatch. Bugonia is a pretty tempting one, but because I'm alone and the events that I've suffered in the past week or so, I don't think I want to do that to myself.
Yeah.
But I am very excited to revisit this at some point. Just don't know if it's going to be right now.
Yeah, you say revisit it now. How is it available?
It is available on demand right now. Also, if you have Peacock, it is streaming on Peacock as well.
Excellent.
Also worth noting, this is available now on physical media, so you can buy the DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K. Actually, let me come back to you on 4K. I haven't seen the 4K yet, so it could just be Blu-ray. But that would be surprising if they're not releasing a Yorgos film on 4K.
Yeah, it almost feels... Well, especially now that it's been nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Expect... I don't know, Steelbook at least.
At least.
Something.
Some kind of retroactive release, but also, at the very least, physical media.
Yeah.
You are able to purchase this film now.
Perfect. Well, I think that's it for the first episode of the 2026 Academy Awards season.
Very excited to break the seal.
So we're really looking forward to all 9 episodes leading up to the Academy Awards and our end of the season. How do I say that? And the Oscar ceremony episode that we'll be doing the day after the Academy Awards, once we know all the winners. If you have enjoyed this episode and you want to provide us with any of your thoughts on any of the movies we're going to be talking about this season, whether they're Best Picture nominated or not, I'm going to be doing the Oscar death race, so I'm going to watch everything that's been nominated. If you're participating as well, let me know. But send us all your thoughts, comments, and concerns to outaopodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support the show and get involved with a lot of cool little things, like my breakdown of the Oscar death race movies that we're not talking about on the show, Ryan, I think you're going to be doing like a recap of sorts of other films you're going to be watching?
Yes, I will be doing a recap of other films that I will be watching, exactly what you just said. And whether that be newer or older, I'll be providing those recaps, reviews rather, on Letterboxd, or not Letterboxd, sorry, on the Discord.
On the Discord, okay. Yeah, so if you want to be a part of that Discord and participate in those conversations or get access to the bonus content that we'll be putting up on the Patreon, check out patreon.com/OUTAO podcast. We're looking into doing like a watch party at some point, probably in February. But I think that's going to do it. Thank you so much for joining us for the premiere of Season 2 and the 2026 Academy Awards.
Make sure to join us for the upcoming episodes where we talk about the remaining 9 nominations.
Next episode will be F1.
Vroom, vroom.
So that's going to do it. As always, I'm your host, Kyle.
And I want you to know this is really difficult for me as well. You killed my family. You killed my community. You killed my coworkers and you killed the bees. So given that, you should really appreciate how professional I'm being by not gutting you.
And we'll see you at the movies.